welcome to another piano lesson. Today we're going to talk about the major scale and more importantly the formula so that you can figure out what the notes are to any major scale. So this is something that's very important in popular music today. Pretty much all music that you hear on the radio, anything that's contemporary Christian or even just popular as far as secular music, is using the 7 notes of a major scale in one way or the other. There are of course exceptions, but this is the basis for it and it's important for you to know. So before we get into a full major scale, for those of you who are beginners, I just want to show you your first position, which will be C position. So remember in our Welcome to Piano lesson, we found where middle C was. It's next to the 2 black keys on the left. All right, so I'm going to ask you to put your thumb there, or your first finger. Remember, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for our fingers. So again, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so put your thumb, let's start with your right hand. Your thumb is on C, and then each of your next fingers are going to get the next white key. So for instance, your thumb is on C, pointer or second finger is on D, middle or third finger is on E, ring or fourth finger is on F, pinky or fifth finger is on G. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for C, D, E, F, and G. So again, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on C, D, E, F, and G. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to just get comfortable with that position. Make sure your fingers are relatively curved. You know, I've heard it spoken of as if you're holding a ball, like a baseball or something like that is in your hand. So your joints should be curved. You shouldn't be playing with flat fingers, and you shouldn't be so curved that you're almost making a fist. It should be relaxed and somewhere in between. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can bring it back down. Then with your left hand on the next C down, remember the piano is a pattern. We talked about 2 black keys, 3 black keys, and the 12-note pattern throughout the keyboard. So this is a C as well because it's next to the 2 black keys. So we're going to put 5th finger in the left hand, pinky. Remember, no matter what, pinkies are 5. So we have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 as far as the finger numbers on the left, but again it's C, D, E, F, G, and again you can bring it on down. What you can do is work those hands apart, and then try and do it together. And of course start slow, work up the tempo to the point that you're doing it pretty fast. Alright, so that brings us to the next part of this lesson, which I want to get into how to figure out the major scale in its entirety. So that was just the first 5 notes of it. So we're talking about the key of C major and the C major scale. So the formula to make a major scale is a whole step, which is 2 keys away. We talked about it a little bit when we talked about sharps and flats last lesson, that each key is a half step. Right? So if I go from C to C sharp or D flat, that's a half step. If I go from B to C, because there's no black key in between, that's a half step. So half step equals 1 key away, left or right. Okay? A whole step is 2 keys away, 2 piano keys away, 2 notes away, however you want to think of it. Right? So C to D is a whole step because I'm going 1, 2. I'm starting on C and I'm going 1, 2. 2 keys away, right? It's 2 half steps away, making it a whole step. So we have a whole step, followed by another whole step, followed by a half step, followed by another whole, and half. So it's 2 whole steps, starting on C. We have whole, half, whole, half. 2 wholes and a half, 3 wholes and a half. Whole, half, whole, half. All right, so this works out nicely in the key of C because all the keys are white keys. It's easy to remember as long as you know where C starts, but we'll get into some other keys in just a minute. So this brings up another point. To play the C scale correctly, we're just focusing on right hand for right now. To play it correctly, you do have to cross. So when you're crossing to the right, usually what you're going to do is cross your thumb under. So the proper fingering, and all these fingerings are up on anthonylebruno.com/lessons. You have a scale fingerings as well as chord voicings and a whole bunch of other resources there for you. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3. Again, I'm referring to finger numbers. Then you're going to cross to play that F, that fourth note, with your thumb again. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, cross. 1, 2, 3, cross. Okay? So you're playing the first 3 notes, then you're going to cross, and you're going to play the 5 remaining notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 1, 2, 3, cross. 2, 3, 4, 5. On the way back down, we're going to cross in the other direction. We're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, cross, and your third finger is going to play the E again. So if you have gotten comfortable with this, now I'm going to ask you to play the entire scale, a full octave. An octave is, so like if we say this is C, the next octave is the next occurrence of C. Oct being 8, if you count it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 notes. So hence the name octave. So one octave is one occurrence of the scale. So we're going 1, 2, 3, cross, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then if we cross back down, we're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, cross, 3, 2, 1. Eventually you want to get it nice and smooth without stopping with the crosses. You don't have to repeat the top note. I usually don't, so it would sound more like this. Come back down. Alright, so that's what you would do with the right hand. Let's practice left hand for a second. It's going to be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So it's kind of like how you would come down with your right hand is the way you go up with your left. So you have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, you're crossing to 3, just like you do on the way down with your right hand. 3, 2, 1. And to go back down, you have 1, 2, 3, cross, just like you would go up in the right hand. Cross, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So all together. So that's hands apart. You'd practice your right hand, you'd practice your left hand. You're going to start slow, use a metronome, and then work yourself up to tempo. And then eventually you want to try and do them hands together. So I'll do this really, really slow so you can see, and I'll even pause for the crossing. All right, so we're going to go. The right hand is now going to cross for the next note, but the left is not. Now the left hand has to cross, but the right is not. It's just going to continue. I'm going to go back down. The left is crossing, the right is not. Now the right has to cross, and we are done. So all together. Right cross, left cross, left cross, right cross. And you can work that up to tempo as well. So let's go over just 2 more keys. I just want to show you how we can use that formula, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, 2 wholes and a half, 3 wholes and a half, to create any scale we want. So that was C. Let's do a G scale. So we have C, D, E, F, G, right? So here's G. I'll just do right hand for now, and you can apply the same principles. I'm not going to go over them again. Half of the 12 major scales that exist, C, G, D, A, E, and B, 6 out of the 12, all use these same fingerings. The 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the right, and the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1 in the left. All right, so G is one of those. So again, those resources are up on the website. You can look at them, print them out, have them, and it shows you what the fingerings are for all 12 keys. But like I said, 6 of them are all the same. So this is one of those. So G, whole step, to A, whole step, B, half step, just one key away to C. Whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. So it's starting on G, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Okay, so that would be the key of G. So again, I'm just showing you that whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, 2 wholes and then a half, 3 wholes and then a half can create any major scale. And so your ear should know whether it's correct or not. If you make a mistake, you're probably going to know it because we're looking for that do, re, mi sound, the major scale sound. So if you hear something like this, okay, that probably wasn't correct. So again, you can use your ears to double check yourself and use the resources available to you as well. So far we've only crossed to and from the 3rd finger in both hands. I just want to show you one more scale where we're going to actually have to, in our right hand, cross to and from the 4th finger. So you're only, as a basic rule in scales, you're only going to cross from 3 and 4. So I want to show you the key of F where you're going to have to cross from 4. So here is the note F, right? We have C, D, E, F. F is the note next to the 3 black keys. So we have F, whole step, half step. As a general rule in scales, you would play these the group of 3 black keys with the 3 fingers that I'm using right now, 2, 3, and 4, and then the 2 black keys. I had a teacher that always used to say peace sign on 2. So it's 2 on 2 and 3 on 3 fingers on 3. So I always just say 2 on 2, 3 on 3. So it's peace sign for the 2 and then these 3. As a general rule, you don't usually play any of the black keys with your thumb or your pinky. All right. So we have F, whole step, half step. Right? Instead of trying to cross, because that black key is positioned further up, instead of trying to cross all the way up for our thumb to go there, we play with our 4th finger. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, then cross, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. So you would actually end on 4. You don't actually use your pinky at all in this F scale in your right hand. In the left, it would just be the same as what you're used to. Right, but in the right, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, cross, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then cross to 4. So again, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, referring to finger numbers. All right, and that's your major scale lesson for today. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again next time for another lesson.